Welcome to the WCC Business Club podcast. Every 2 weeks, we sit down with professors, entrepreneurs, and top executives to hear their stories, share insights, and give practical tips for building your career. If you have a question for our guests, ask it in our Instagram stories and hear it answered in one of our next episodes. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving break. We definitely took our time and we're back now. And we have a special guest today. But before I introduce our special guest, I would like to introduce my co host, Luigi, who is the officer of the external relations team. And I'm going to let you say hi really quick before we move on to our guest.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving break. And we have a special guest today, so I'm looking very forward to it. Let's get into it.
Awesome. Our guest, her name is Vicky. And it's very special to us because we just started our podcast and Vicky also has a podcast. And I would love for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your podcast and the name, everything that you do that we must know before we get into things.
Hi, my name is Vicky and I'm very excited to be here today. So thank you so much for having me on. So having my own podcast, I started maybe in October is when I started my own podcast. And I really did it kind of just to get my social skills up, right? Like as a way to be able to speak to people and communicate and kind of I wanted to be like the voice of the students almost. Like if I can speak about topics and things that students are either too polite to say or maybe just don't have the time, right, to really talk about these things or issues that happen on campus. So I really dive deep into what it's like on WCC, as a student. So my podcast, the name of it is Vicky's Room, right? Because it takes place in the radio station downstairs. So I run the radio station, I'm the on-air director. So it was kind of so it was
Cool.
This is my room, right?
Yep.
Vicky's room, yay, right? So I wanted to go big or go home. So my first initial guest was president of the college, Dr. Belinda Miles.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and
that's incredible.
Thank you. And I also had our county executive, Ken Jenkins. He's politician, right? I also had him on, and I interviewed him at the same time. And mind you, I'm not an interviewer, right? I don't I don't interview people. This is my first time doing this. But I figured I had faith in my social skills and how I communicate with people and how I get people to loosen up and kind of be themselves. So I had faith in my ability.
Yeah.
So I did it, and it was so much fun, right? I got to ask them really important things affordability, right? Housing crisis, the useless degrees, right? Things that are on the mind of students that we don't really talk about, right? Or how I felt they weren't really aware. The reaction I got from them from these questions were y'all worried about that? And I was yes. There's people out here really worried. This is a problem. So it was good to get their reactions and make them aware of how we feel as students on WCC.
1,000%. This is really cool. It's really opening a channel that we don't use much because we are not often in direct conversation with these people that you have on. That's really cool. So it's only been a few months then, when you said October, and you already had big people on. That's awesome. So when you first started, what were some direct steps that you took to kick this off?
So not only did I first become one with my equipment downstairs in the radio station, because it's not the oldest, but it is older equipment, right? It's not this is very nice. That's why I walked in here. I was oh, it's very fancy in here, right? But downstairs there's slightly older mics and there's an older board, right? So you kind of got to get used to it, right, and become very familiar with it, because I didn't want to be sitting in front of them and maybe have an oopsie or whatever. And even then I still had damn, I messed that up, right?
Yeah.
No matter how much I practiced. But I did, I first became one with the station, right? I established myself. I got the position. And I was okay, that's one, right? That checks off the box. Now it was, when picking who to bring on, I truly didn't know at first. I had no idea that I was going to have the both of them there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of just came to me. One day I was who's the president of the college? And I Google, right? So I'm who's the president of the college? I Googled it. I'm oh, okay, Dr. Belinda Miles. Okay, doctor's in charge of the campus. Okay, I see you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had other connections that connected me to Ken Jenkins. So I was okay, what if I just do both of them? Because I thought about making them two separate interviews. But I feel them as symbols of being the first African Americans in their position, giving us two great examples of Black excellence, right? Like leading the future, right? Like especially Dr. Miles in the sense of like the youth, right? Like she has like college students that come here and then graduate. So I felt like they were in the same area and ballpark to just get it out the way in one interview.
Yeah.
Because I thought, like this is gonna be overwhelming, and I'm like, well, like not really. Like it'll be less of a challenge if they're both there. They can kind of piggyback off of each other, making my job a little easier.
Yep.
Right? They can, and they had really good responses. Like I was, not to say I was surprised, but surprised. Like I was like, oh, okay, like that was really good, like what you just gave me. And I thought really long, and that was another thing. Like the next step was thinking really long and hard about what I wanted to ask, how I wanted to come off to everybody listening, right? Because we also did it live, right? So like whoever's in this area code and further could have possibly been tuning into that. So, and we were recording. So there was just a lot happening at once in one take. So when asking questions, I feel like that was the hardest part, like to sit there and be like, if I don't get good questions off each time, are people gonna feel like you're wasting people's time? Like what, or are they gonna feel like you're wasting my time? Why are you asking me this question?
1000%.
Right?
Yep.
So I was like, okay, like these have to be like questions that they can sit there and kind of think on a little bit, but I'm not pushing the boundaries too far, right? Like, because we also don't want to get into like territory where it's like, okay, now they're too uncomfortable, and that's not what I want. So the hardest part was figuring out questions. I had 10. I think I had like a 50-50, but I had like 5 for him, 5 for her. And it worked out, and I have no regrets.
I love that. That's super inspiring. Yeah. Honestly. Sure. And what's coming up for you? What's next?
So my next mission, not going to happen this semester, but it's probably going to happen next semester, is to find a group of students to come on the pod and maybe have a conversation with them about how they feel about what's going on in our world, right, economically. Like, is there fear? Is there any possible hope that we don't know about, that some students know about, that others don't? Is there stuff you want to get off your chest that you feel you could tell people, but you don't, right, for some reason? Like, to give students a platform to be able to say, like, hey, like, let's use our voices now, and let's speak about things that we don't really talk about. Like, I want to find maybe like a group of 2 or 3 and have conversations, maybe have them, some of them having maybe some like slight opposing viewpoints, and kind of get like the brain thinking and moving, and really just have like, I don't want to say debate, because that's also not what I'm doing. Like, I'm not doing like a respectable debate.
Yeah, you want more like just 2 different perspectives for like the viewer to get 2 different perspectives and create their own like thoughts and values.
Right, and have like a space where we can have like a collected conversation about like, I don't know what specifically the topic is going to be on yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it. That's for sure.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really cool. Are there some particular topics that you're very passionate about that you definitely want to get on?
Probably the community college dropout rates.
Yeah.
Maybe affordability as a college student. Like, are you working full-time and a student full-time? Like, things like that, where like things that people can relate to, a struggle that everybody is kind of going through in their own little special way. Totally.
I think this is really cool. I know it's so new, so probably a lot of people haven't heard of it yet. So we're finding out now. Yeah. So I love that we have the opportunity to share that for you too, and get some people to listen, because I think this is extremely inspiring and very brave of you that you took that opportunity. Because sometimes we also shy away from people who hold some kind of, I don't want to say power, but like a higher position in college or on campus. And sometimes it can be a little intimidating to talk to these people. So thank you for doing that, and for doing this for other people too. This is really, really cool. If you have any advice for someone who's thinking about starting a podcast or getting into business, do you have anything you would like to share?
Do it. That's my advice. Do it.
I love that.
It's one thing, right? A lot of people don't get stuff off the whiteboard, right? Like they like, oh, I should do this with this person, and I can do this, and we can make this happen. And it kind of really never leaves the whiteboard, right? Like you kind of have this idea that you want to do, but you don't have like either the time or the energy or the money to be able to contribute what you actually want to do. And I know it can be intimidating, and trust and believe it was to a degree, but I'm also a big believer of I pay to be here.
Yep.
So I can do this, like, and everybody who's here pays to be here one way or another. So we shouldn't exactly let it intimidate us. These are the people who their paychecks are bound off of helping us and making sure we get to our success.
Yep.
So I was definitely like, this is going to be fine. Like, at first it's going to be like, hello, right? Like, like very like timid and like, I don't know how to speak to you, or like, I'm shy because I don't want to say the wrong thing. But like once you kind of rip the Band-Aid off, none of that matters, because once you have the accomplishment, like the ripple effect from that is so much more worth it than the nervousness and anxiety you feel before doing it.
Definitely, and you get a lot more confident for the future. This is awesome. I love doing this too because it builds a certain skill set, also a social skill set, that you get more comfortable talking to people and discussing things that might not usually come up. So I think this is super awesome. We've almost reached the end of our episode, but before we do, I want to give you, Luigi, a chance if you have like another question, because I've been babbling.
No, I'll ask a question for sure. So like, what would you say so far was like your best episode? Like, what do you think like made you feel like, oh yeah, like what was the point that you were like, oh yeah, like this is what I want to do? Because like a lot of people first or second time, like they could maybe give up or feel discouraged in a way, but like you kept going. It's been what, 2-3 months now, which is great, incredible. So like, what made you feel like, yeah, I want to keep doing this? This is great.
Honestly, the outcome of it, right? Like, because I feel like I did this podcast and now I'm here on someone else's podcast, right? Like the ripple effects of like, oh, like, yay, now things are happening for me. Because that was also another big, that's probably also going to be another topic I'm going to talk about when I bring the students in, is like lack of involvement on campus. How do you start? Where do you start, right? Like, how do you find your people who you want to become friends with, an activity you want to participate in actively that won't like burn you out to a crisp? So what made me want to keep doing it is that I think when students do hear about it, there's an appreciation, right? Like just happened just now of like, oh my God, yes, please, we need to talk about these things, right? And somebody got to do it.
Yeah.
And I also I like it. I like having the setup and the stress that comes with it and speaking to people and kind of like connecting with a generation that we don't connect with often. Because on like social media platforms, you'll get like, oh, like Gen X versus Gen Z, right? Like when in like reality, no. Like we core and spy like a lot. Like most of our teachers and professors are Gen Xers, right? So I feel like closing that gap, speaking to each other, they kind of like because I even, I interviewed one of my business professors. At the end of it, I always see a light bulb go off over their heads of like an understanding of where we're coming from, right? Because that's also another thing, misunderstanding why we are the way we are, like as a younger generation and as young people, why we're this stressed, why burnout rates are all-time high, why we're dropping out of college, why we can't seem to afford anything, right? Like when you get down to the explanation of it and kind of come heart to heart with them, they kind of go like, oh, that was me at one point. Like, yeah, you struggled too. This is just our version of it.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's like so much better than like the two generations, Gen X and Z, like being so like naive towards each other for sure. Like I think building a connection with those two generations is very important because they're older than us. We can learn from them, and then like they can learn from us like our like day-to-day experiences and like struggles, etc. And like it gives them a better understanding of us, and like they could in a way guide us, and like in a way they could learn from us.
To give everybody like a little speck of hope. The impression that I've gotten from all the interviews with older people so far has been like, this isn't the first tragedy. This is just your first time living. So this is your first tragedy, right? Like,
ooh, I love that.
Right. Like it might seem big, it might seem large, but every generation has their epidemic that they've lived through, right? Like we love to say like ours is craziest, right? Because like born in 9/11, 2020, right? But they also have their own things, right? There was like the crack epidemic, right? Like they're
wars.
Bigger, right? Yeah. Like bigger things, right? So there's always going to be an epidemic and pandemic, a problem, right? That every generation has to face. It's just harder when a lot of that history is kind of being buried and you're going, what do we do? But the solutions are in the past, right? So when you stop fighting with each other and you kind of go like, hey, let's connect, let's figure out like, I don't know what I'm doing. Every older person has been like, oh girl, I've done that before. You gotta do this. And it's
Yeah.
like, what do you mean there's an answer? Like, yes. Like, I was there. I was a broke college student at one point, and I felt like the world was going to end any day now. And, like, like, things happen. And if you keep your head up, you stay strong, you play it smart, you play the spades correct, keep your cards close to your chest, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vicky. It was a
course.
pleasure to have you on. This was awesome. I think everybody who's listening is going to love this. And thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you.
Again, I'm going to just mention it's Vicky's Room, right? They tune in when?
On Fridays from 12 to 1.
Okay, Fridays. Okay, so stay tuned for our next episode and for Vicky's next episode. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Ciao.